Hey all, good morning and welcome to Share Trek. This is Raj here. Hope our American friends had an interesting time watching the midterm results trickle in. As I start recording this morning show at 7 a.m., the index futures look mildly red to me. That could indicate to me that the expected Republican showing has not yet materialized because the market was expecting a Republican wave. For this and more, let's get started. Welcome back, friends. As you all know, I'm Canadian. I do not have an axe to grind in the American elections. Also, I regulate my media diet on an ongoing basis, mainly because I want to have better handle on the stock market. So what I'm about to say is opinion formed from consuming secular media sources, and also my hypotheses are based on a long-term observation of how markets react to various kind of stimulus. So with that in mind, I would say that the pre-election scenario was pretty scary, with election results denying candidates, insurrection denying candidates, consuming a lot of media footage and oxygen. This is where you get to understand the dark underbelly of the stock market. You see, if a government for the people and by the people and of the people were to govern, they would bring regulations to control environmental impact. This means that miners will have to clean up after their operations, and that costs a lot of money, reduces the profitability. They may have to shut coal mines, and that could cost profits. A proper government would tax people making more money and give relief to weaker sections of the society to reduce income disparity. The wealthy do not like this. However, if you have a dysfunctional government that is all theatrics and no governance, it gives a free rein for business to flout the environment, get more tax cut, and lobby easily for favorable business conditions. One of these include the refrain that we do not have sufficient manpower, so we need to get outsourced, or we need to get foreign workers. It makes easy to run business profitably in such an environment. The stock market has been expecting a conservative win, or a red wave as they call it, and the aftermath would be the investigation of the J6 committee, Hunter Biden, etc., etc. And that would mean that the focus on governance would not be there. Nothing much would have happened in terms of governance. The institution would be diluted, and in this environment, business can pay for play easily and have a great time. And ordinary citizens would not be able to get the attention of the government because they don't have the kind of money needed to get their attention. This does not seem to be happening as yet because the Senate is still hanging in balance. Once the Senate goes to GOP, you can expect the share market to soar. It will just spike up and it will become green. If the Senate stays with the Dems, then the market will continue the previous trend that we saw earlier. The Reds this morning in the index futures tell me the story that probably the Reds are not winning as much as the market would have wanted. I would like to be proved wrong. What do you guys think? Put it in the description below. So the premise that I'm using to judge the market is based on something that I learned when I was in India. At that time, we didn't have a functioning government as such because they were more of theatrics and more of issue-based governments, which were talking about things that were not relevant to the common man. And in that environment, a new industry got started. That was the information technology industry. And the industry was not governed because the government was more busy with theatrics and other things. And as a result, there was no Ministry of Information Technology for a long time. And during that period of time, the information technology industry in India grew. And it gave us some really big blue chip companies in India like Infosys, Tata Consultancy Services, Wipro, HCL Infotech, those kind of companies which have a global footprint. So that's where I'm informed in terms of the discrepancy between stock market reacting to a particular news which is good for the stock market, but may not necessarily be good for the people. So keeping that in mind, I'm making these predictions. So I'd be very curious to hear what you guys think. What is your experience with regard to this? Now, having said that, let's move on to other news. The other news is that housing market is under stress as mortgage rate rose again last week, throwing even more cold water on demand from both current homeowners and potential home buyers. Weekly application volume fell 0.1% last week from the previous week, whereas investors are still waiting for the October reading from the government's consumer price index to see how the Fed will move on interest rates. Any drop in inflation would be welcome because that would mean that the Fed is going to go a bit easier. Meanwhile, the tech industry layoffs continue as reports come that after Twitter, now it's the turn of Meta, and Meta is laying off 15% of its workforce. Though Meta shares will raise today as investors see margins getting defended, that doesn't mean that Meta has done anything great. It's just that it has reduced its employee costs and it has safeguarded its margin, which also is going to come at the cost of future innovation and future growth. So any kind of reduction in employment should be seen as a precursor to recession. That's how I would look at it. Now, that said, let's take a look at the pre-market price action and see where we are going today. We are here on the TradingView platform looking at NASDAQ futures. And as you can see, today we have a red candle forming out here, which is close to the upper edge of the green candle that we had yesterday. And yesterday was the candle of indecision because the election results were not known. But it was typically trending green because the markets are expecting a Republican wave, that there will be a red wave, and the House and the Senate both would go into the hands of Republicans. And that has not happened. So that's why we are seeing this red candle out here. And if we find out that the Senate has been retained by the Democrats, they expect this red to go down further, and we will be touching this support line of 10712.25. So we'll be in track to touch that support line in the next few days. However, if Republicans win the Senate, then we are going to break through all this resistance, and we are going to test the resistance at 11,597.00. So that's my prediction. And right now, the NASDAQ futures are indicating a bit of bearishness, even though that's not very, very strong. And in terms of US oil is down 1.73%, and we are very, very close to testing the support out here, the diagonal line of support out here, which is at 87.03. Right now, we're at 87.13. And if the Dems win, I think this is going to come down further because the current policies will continue with regard to Russia, and the current policies will continue with regard to the strategic oil reserves. So that's what I am thinking. But I could be wrong as well, because I suspect that once Democrats regain control of the Senate, they would stop the release of oil. And I think much closer to the presidential election, they may probably try to release oil reserves again to control oil inflation. And that's my guess. If that happens, then oil can go up further from this point today. Now, looking at QQQ, we have got a Doji candle in QQQ, perfectly waiting for the election results to come in. This was the candle that was formed on 8th of November. That is yesterday. You can see it's perfectly balanced with a very thin wick. People were not clear what's going to happen, but the fact that the candle is green indicates that a red wave was expected. So today, when the market opens, we'll have to see what happens. And right now, the pre-market action shows that QQQ is down minus 0.31%. Now, if Republicans lose the Senate, if the Dems retain the Senate, then we can see that this candle will become red and will come below the line of support, which is at 268.74 right now. And the market is at 268.92, just marginally above that. MACD is bearish and the momentum is also below average. S&P 500, which was up 0.54% yesterday, again has formed a perfect doji candle, sitting exactly on the resistance, 38.55. I think the resistance is now going to be turned into a support for today. But again, the same story that I mentioned for QQQ will happen out here. Pre-market, we are already down minus 0.26%. IWM Russell's index was up 0.04% yesterday. Again, a red doji candle out here. Three red candles in a sequence, a lot of indecision. Today, pre-market, we are down for minus 0.45%. And that could change if Republicans retain the win the Senate and Democrats lose the Senate, in which case the Congress will be in the hands of the Republican. And that would mean that they will veto everything that Biden proposes, and there will be a policy logjam. And in that environment, businesses can do extremely well because they will not be regulated as much. And that said, let us look at Dow Jones Industrial Average, and Dow Jones was up 1% yesterday. Again, a fat doji candle. Indecision out there, and pre-market they are down 0.37%. The VIX is up 0.27%, but it's still within yesterday's range and slightly above. It's being constrained by the 10-day simple moving average at 25.60. Again, waiting to take cues from the election results. We want to see what happens in the Senate, and that's what will make the change out here. Let me quickly check and see if we have any Senate results. We are still hanging in balance, 46 for Democrats and 47 for GOP. So, and in terms of leads, so Republican Party lost one and Democratic Party gained one. So the advantage is still in the hands of the Democratic Party, in my opinion, at this point of time. So we are going to see a little more reds lingering around. I think the VIX has a tendency of probably breaking through this line of support. We'll have to wait and see what happens. US dollar index continues to move in the bear lane at this point of time, and right now it's got a gain of 0.25%. So it's still consolidating at the bottom. I would expect it to start moving towards the diagonal red line and face that resistance and potentially try to break through it. And as long as the US dollar index stays in this bear channel, it continues to be good for the market. And what will be even better for the market is if the US dollar index falls below this bear channel and tries to meet the support that is coming in from this thick blue line, which is the 100-day simple moving average sitting at 13,161. That would be really great for the market, but I don't know if that's going to happen today. That said, let's go and have a look at the index movers. I'm looking at Microsoft. Microsoft has formed a Doji candle here in the trade that happened on Friday. A lot of indecision and getting support from the 10-day simple moving average. And today pre-market, Microsoft is down 0.50%, indicating that Microsoft is not inclined to support the index. The Apple also is down 0.25%, and Amazon is up 0.01% in pre-market action, and Google is down 0.16% in pre-market action. So if I look at Microsoft, Apple, Amazon, and Google, it's a toss-up. So there is a lot of indecision. So I'm not sure whether the index market movers will support the index today. If you look at commodities, wheat is up 0.67%, not good for the inflation scene. Copper is down 0.42, still consolidating at this level. But friends, unfortunately, because it's on a rising trend, the pennant is likely to break out on the upside. So not looking good for the economy either and for the market either. Genomics, I'm going to just sort out the Genomics shares, and Bluebird was the biggest gainer yesterday. Today it's down 0.81%, and it's going to face a resistance out here from this diagonal red line, and that's going to be at 7.47 for today. And if we break through that, then I'll draw new lines of resistance. But right now it looks like we're going to break through that today because the MACD is bullish and the momentum is also above average. But the pre-market action indicates a bearish open. And if you look at PSEB is up 7.24 as of yesterday's trading, and this morning it's up 1.88%. So PSEB is doing very well, and it's forming the cup and handle pattern very nicely, and we still are on target for 11.22, which is what the cup and handle pattern indicates to me. DNA is up 6.28% as of yesterday, and this morning it is up 2.36%. It's doing extremely well. I had placed an order to buy DNA yesterday. I have to go and check my account to see whether the order materialized. If it had, then I'm definitely looking at good profits for today. And I think today we are going to challenge the 10-day simple moving average sitting at 2.62, and then we are going to challenge the horizontal resistance at 2.68. Our MACD is bearish but tending towards the signal line, and momentum is picking up. And then if you look at Caribou Biosciences, it was up 3.10%. Today I have a video coming up on the earnings that was declared by Caribou Biosciences. The market has rewarded Caribou. And as far as I'm concerned, I didn't get anything major from the Caribou Biosciences results to change my current opinion. I'm still waiting on their cohort 1 results, which they have promised to release before the end of this year, which means in a couple of weeks we'll get that information. I expect CB010 to yield good results, and if that happens, then I would definitely boost my outlook for Caribou Biosciences. And right now I'll take this green candle. I think that we will definitely do well for Caribou Biosciences because the initial indications are that the market is happy with what it has heard. So we're going to challenge the resistance at 9.37 and potentially also challenge the 10-day simple moving average at 9.48. There are no trades pre-market for Caribou. IMTX was up 2.20% yesterday, no trades pre-market. Intelia was up 2.06% yesterday. Today pre-market it's down 2.48. And I had placed some orders for Intelia yesterday close to the support at 49.30. So I had to go and have a look at what happened with Intelia, whether I got the order or not. If I did, then I'm definitely seeing potential for some movement upward later in the day. ARCG was up 1.77% yesterday, but pre-market no trades. Now looking at Editas. Editas has a green candle from yesterday, but pre-market is showing a negative of 1.96. I would expect Editas to consolidate a little bit out here, and then I think we are expecting the brilliance result for Edit 101 later this month or before the end of the year, and that's likely to make an impact on the price action. If those results come out positive, then I would expect Editas to start regaining the lost momentum. Till such time, they're likely to consolidate. Beam was up 1.27% yesterday, no trades pre-market. Posida was up 0.67% yesterday, no trades pre-market. Illumina was up 0.39% yesterday. There are no trades pre-market. We formed a very thin Doji candle out here. I want Illumina to break through this diagonal line of resistance here, which forms the neckline for this cup and handle pattern. And I think it's still on target for the 269.88 price target from the cup and handle pattern. Teladoc was up 0.33% yesterday, and today pre-market Teladoc is down minus 0.18%, and IDNA was up 0.11% yesterday, no trades pre-market. Allogene was down 1.32% yesterday, no trades pre-market. Invitae was down 2.08% yesterday, and pre-market it's up 2.55%. I had placed a small order for Invitae, and I have to check my portfolio and see where it is. And if I had got that, I think I would probably make some profits today. But Invitae is going to be within a narrow range of 2.15 and 2.56 in my personal opinion. And if you look at SQZ Biotech is down 2.15%, no trades pre-market. Verve, which was down 5.38% yesterday, after the disastrous information about the FDA hold, it's got no trades pre-market, which is a good indication for me, which means that all the selling pressure is gone. So today we have to look at Verve turning back because it's already reached the 30%, and the worst it could do is fall down a little more until 27.02%, and then it has to turn back around. It needs to fill this gap as well. So I'd expect a positive turnaround from Verve today. With that said, my friends, I'd like to bring this video to an end. I hope you like this video, and be careful at the market today because everything is going to be based on the results from the Senate elections and whether Republicans are able to retain the Senate or not. The Dems retain the Senate, expect the same of what happened before, but maybe slightly better because the Republicans in the House would be able to prevent most of the things that the Dems want to do. So there'll be kind of a deadlock in the Congress. And therefore, I think we'll have a slightly better outlook. That said, please do not forget to press a like out there if you like this video. And if you're not yet subscribed, please press subscribe. Thanks and have a great day. Bye for now.